All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, sisters of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. And no, Sister Lisa, I did have my mount, but I broke it. Now, that's the story of my life. I'm going to take responsibility for it. I broke it myself. But anyway, the nature of this video is I'm receiving a lot of communique, a lot of response about my get out of debt video because, I can clearly see the handwriting on the wall. I see what the powers that be are doing. I see what this country is about. I see exactly what's going on. And I truly don't like what I see. I don't. I do know one thing, that there are two different perspectives and two different point of views in this country in the way that they actually function and do things. The bottom line is that the rich rule over the poor, and that's it in a nutshell. So I had somebody, say, Pastor, your words, they carry a lot of weight. They carry a lot of conviction. There's a reason why my words carry a lot of weight and a lot of conviction. The reason why they carry a lot of weight and they carry a lot of conviction is because when I give information out, that's because I am a partaker of the information that I give out. In other words, I'm a man that if I tell you something, it's because I'm doing it myself or have done it, one or the other. And that's the reason why that my voice is a voice of authority and not like the voice of the people of this world who try to constantly reason with you and everything over and over again. But no, I understand. Believe you me, I comprehend very well. I comprehend very, very well about how that in this world that there are purchases that you simply are going to have to make, and you're going to have to buy stuff on credit. When I'm talking about getting out of debt, let me clarify, okay? When I am speaking about getting out of debt, okay, what I'm speaking about is do not go out there and extend yourself so far. You understand what I mean? In other words, let me try to break this down to the lowest common denominator. If you have an income to where you're receiving $30,000 a year, okay, do not go out there and get $15,000 in debt. It's just nonsensical. It don't make sense. It does not make sense. And don't always bank on tomorrow that income is going to be there. That there is no job security in this world, none whatsoever at all. And there are purchases like vehicles, used vehicles, cars, or whatever that you're going to have to make. I'll give you an example. Right now, I am driving in a vehicle. I paid $3,500 for it. And right now, I can actually drive this vehicle to California if I wanted to and back, because when I purchased the vehicle, I just purchased it the other day. I purchased it on credit. But when I purchased it the other day, I took it immediately down the street. I had it put up on a rack. Myself and 3 mechanics went over this thing and inspected this thing. It cost me $30 to get it inspected because I was in an area that I'm not familiar with and don't know. And I've been driving it ever since. I drove it probably about 180 miles from where I purchased the vehicle from. And right now I'm going to put some brand new tires on it. And now I had I probably got 75% of the money on hand, but I chose not to use that, because if you have a Bank of America credit card, every 6 months or something like that, they'll send you a check in the mail, and sometimes it ranges from $250 to $500 because of the purchases that you made. Now, if you can use the credit card to your advantage, like I am, you can actually recuperate some of these losses and turn around and take that money and put it back on a purchase that you've already made, then you're using wisdom here. I can, it took me every bit of, 8 months before I purchased this car. I must have looked at, 200 cars, trying to do some, investigation on. But anyway, the bottom line is I chose to purchase this on credit. I can easily have this thing paid off in 3-4 months, tops, easy. I could probably have it paid off in a month if I choose to. If I choose to actually suffer some pain in other areas. But what I'm saying is that I did not extend myself. And that's what I'm trying to teach you. You may have to go to Tractor Supply, and you may have to buy a generator or something like that, and you may not have $500 laying around. You don't want to get into your emergency fund. And speaking of that, how many of you people out there actually have an emergency fund? How many of you have money put back, set aside, that if you needed to tap into that because of some emergency, you could? Do you have $1,000 set aside? And I'm just using that as an example, that any given time you can put your hands on it and you can actually use that to get you or someone out of trouble. Do you? Well, most people in America, because we live for today. We like pleasures for right now. Most of us, what we do is we're not going to have no emergency fund. We're going to live, and because today for tomorrow we die, and we're not even thinking about the future whatsoever at all. And if some of us did have 1,000 or 2,000 saved up, that thing, our conscious know that it's there, and something will burn deep down in our spirit to try to figure out a way to spend it. I guarantee it. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. There will be something in us that would try to come up with some excuse that we need that money for something. I'm telling you, see, that's how that this spirit works in us. And it's just a sad situation. It really, truly is. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to provide wisdom. Yes, I do intend on being intrusive. I do intend on putting a defibrillator on your mind because I know what it means to be in debt. I know what it means to be on the other side of debt, and I do know what it means to be in control of your life. I know what it means to be in control of your life all that you can. I mean, think about it. What is wrong with having a property that the only note you have on that property is paying property taxes once a year? Property taxes once a year, and that's it. Is there something wrong with that? I mean, you can choose to pay a light bill. I mean, myself personally, I'm going to be working on getting away from the grid. I really, truly am, because I'm coming into more knowledge of solar. I've been making small purchases here and there because I simply don't have the money to be able to just go and drop $20,000 and $30,000 on a solar system. So what do? I buy a little here, I buy a little there, I buy a few parts here and buy a few parts there. I do investigation. Pretty soon, maybe within a year or two, I'll probably be able to have enough parts to be able to do a system. And then I'll put it on a building and get to learn the ins and outs of it. And next thing you know, as I continue to try to keep moving forward, little by little, inch by inch, I'll be off the grid and I won't have to depend on them at all. No, and I don't have to depend on them now. I can choose to live because we're set up that way. I can live like the Amish. I can live like the Mennonites. When a tornado came through here a few years ago and we were every bit of 2 weeks without electricity, we lived just fine. We had a hot meal every single day. Sister Carol made sure that the community had a hot meal every single day. The sister did too, because we are set up that way. So either way it goes, I'm trying to be wise in things that I do to try to help people out. I really, truly am. And because of the choices and the decisions I make, you can easily, if you ever invited to my homestead, you can see that I've made wise choices and wise decisions like some of you are out there. You can see where money that I receive or that when I go out and work for it, you can see where it goes. It's right there on the land. You can see it. And I'm proud to say that I don't owe no man nothing. I don't owe him anything. Now, I do owe on this particular vehicle right here, but like I said, I'm trying to weigh which way I'm going to go because no doubt half of this vehicle is going to be paid off in the next 10 days for sure. But it sure is nice. It really is nice when I've already, for the last 8 or 9 months, put funds back for such a purchase as this, and I was able to find a vehicle. I negotiated the price down, got it, and got it so that both sides could actually, experience some type of, I don't know if you want to call it a fairness or not, but yeah, pretty much. And of course, now I've been running around the last day or two because every time I buy a used vehicle, the first thing I do is I change the serpentine belt I get the transmission serviced. I change the oil, especially an older vehicle like this, got 137,000 miles on it. I change the oil and go to either high mileage synthetic or synthetic. Wiper blades, put a brand new battery in it. I make sure that the alternator is charging. Elder Doug, I bought a serpentine belt the other day, and Elder Doug installed it and said, hey, man, it was one of the easiest installs he's had. And that's the reason why I purchased the car, because I'm trying to get cars that is easy for us to operate. Yes, I have older vehicles on the land. And that if most people who are, if they're not keeping up with trends and know what year these vehicles are, they will look and say, man, those some very nice vehicles. Yeah, but all our vehicles are 10 years old and older. Every single one of them are. Every single one of them. As a matter of fact, this is the newest vehicle we have on the land. It's a 2006. And all our vehicles, we can drive them literally anywhere we want, because we keep maintenance up on them. But what is, truthfully, and go with me on this if you can, okay? Let's just try to think here for a moment. The function of a vehicle is to get you from point A to point B. A modern day horse and buggy, okay? Now, since we understand and we comprehend that the function of the vehicle is to get us from point A to point B, what is it about us that we want to go out and get the latest bells and whistles and everything else? Because this vehicle is basic as I don't know what. I mean, yeah, everything has power windows, they seem like it, but it doesn't have all these bells and whistles on it at all. But you know what it's serving its purpose of? Getting me from point A to point B. That's all it's designed for. Now, some people like to get from point A to point B a little bit more comfortable than others. But the bottom line is, these are nothing more than modern day horse and buggy. That's all they are. They're just called mechanical vehicles, automotive. That's it, really. They're a hunk of iron, and they're going to depreciate. The day you buy it, I don't care how much you put into it, it's still going to depreciate. And one day, it's going to be ready for the junkyard, because it can only, no matter how much you keep up with it, it can only go so long. Now, you can do like we do. For instance, our truck, it had 310,000 miles on it, and the transmission went out. All right. What did I do? Well, took it to the place I had it towed. The transmission shop told me exactly what's going on. We put a transmission in it. You know the reason why I put a transmission in it? Because the other day I was at the dealer. I have a Ford F-250, a 2001 Ford F-250 that has 12,000 miles on it now. When I saw the prices of those vehicles, what they want brand new, $55,000, $60,000, $65,000, I scratched my head. Then I went over to the used side, maybe a couple of years old, 2013 or something like that. $35,000, $40,000, $45,000 for a used Ford F-250. I go, man, I just could not bring myself to pay that kind of money for a vehicle like that. Now I could bring myself to pay that kind of money for a vehicle if I had a whole bunch of money, but I could not see it, since it's designed for carrying materials and to get me from point A to point B. Some people care about how they look amongst a whole bunch of people in this world that don't even matter. I don't. It's just get me from point A to point B. Well. Man, you see, it's a lot of changing that's to take place. So what I do, I'll search until I find one that may be a few years older and stuff, like maybe 5 to 6 years older, and I can get it for maybe 15 to 20,000. And it's already broke in too. And I'll go over it and make sure I keep up with the maintenance on it, and I'm good for another 200,000 miles. That's just the way I think, because I don't have to keep up with the latest design or the latest trends, and I surely don't care about how I look out here amongst these people in the world. I'm not vain, if you understand what I mean. I just get from point A to point B, and that's just the way it is. And I've been driving this vehicle around for the last 3 or 4 days. And because it's big, it's roomy, easy to drive, and getting it ready for just in case our sisters and children need to drive and they need to go out somewhere. I need for them to be safe. Well, that's just the way it is. So I thought I'd come on here and try to say something to try to help bring some type of ease to your minds. No, I'm not condemning you for being in debt a little bit. No, I'm not. As long as you're trying to make sure you're not overextending yourself, because you don't want to go out there and have to go to work and your whole paycheck goes towards paying debt. And then before long, you look up, you ain't got no breathing room. You can barely even buy food. And of course, then, you have to make choices and decisions. You're going to get them creditors on you, calling you and badgering you every single day. What are you going to do? Or are you just going to go ahead and buy food and survive? Ultimately, people are going to buy food and survive and then have to deal with the stress of these people coming down on you like a 2-ton heavy stick because of the poor choices and decisions that you made. Hope I said something to give you a little bit of wisdom here and something to think on if you have the ears to hear. Shalom.